Hello, this is still Spanish from Spain. I'm Reyes and I'm here with Jill. She's a friend of mine because we met. Can you explain when we met?
We actually met on a website called italki. I wanted to make sure that I was keeping my Spanish vocabulary up, and so I found Reyes as my teacher, and
Yes, I am.
he's a great teacher, and we started talking almost every day, and then I decided I wanted to come to Spain, and here I am.
Okay. And I have some questions for you because I think these questions are going to help you if you are thinking on traveling to Spain. Okay? So, first of all, can you give us some advice on buying tickets?
Well, I think it's really good if you have a flexible schedule, because one thing that's a big advantage for me is that I work from home, and so it doesn't matter when I go. And so you'll find if you want to go in July, you want to go in August, the tickets are really high. A lot of times you'll find stuff $900, $1,000.
In Spanish we say temporada alta, high season.
High season,
High season.
yeah, if it's the high tourist season. So if there's any way to avoid that, I would recommend it. So my ticket was in January, and so I got a one-way ticket for, I think it was $260, and I thought that was a pretty good deal. But it's because it's in January. So if you can be a little bit more flexible, go in February, go in October, or November instead of going July or August, you can get some pretty good deals.
Okay.
And I went on the Portuguese airline, what are they called? TAP. And I was a little bit nervous about it because I'd never gone on it before, but everything was really good. It was smooth.
Okay.
It was a good trip.
Everything went well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It did.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Cool. So next question. What did you do when you landed here?
Okay, well, you're going to have to go through customs. I'm sure everybody expects that. But if you have a layover, you have to do it at the first point of entry in the European Union. So when I got out of the airplane in Portugal, I actually had to go through customs there. And so you're going to not want to have a really, you don't want to have a short layover is what I'm trying to say. It's not like the US where you have to take your luggage out and go through that again. You just leave your luggage as is, but you have to go through customs. But it's an easy process. They just ask you where you're going, and they probably speak English. So I was speaking Spanish to them, but
Okay.
they knew Spanish.
Well, once you were in Portugal, you have to move to Barcelona, right? Once you arrived in Barcelona, what did you do? Or can you tell us something about the transport? Because
Sure.
once you are in the airport, how do you go? Or how did you go to the city?
There's a lot of different ways to do it if you look. There's a lot of websites that explain this, so I probably don't need to go into it too much. But there's public transportation you could take. But I had a really heavy suitcase. So I
Yes,
wanted,
indeed.
Yeah, he helped me with it, and it was bad.
I can assure that.
So what happened was there's a place where there's a bunch of taxis waiting. There's probably 30 taxis there. And I didn't even have to get in line. I just said I need a taxi.
There are buses as well.
There are buses as well.
Buses, taxis. Okay. But the metro isn't there. The subway.
Maybe we should have researched that before making this video.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. No, because I've been there as well. No, and there isn't subway.
And you can also get a private shuttle. There's shuttle companies too that will take you. But I took the taxi and it was easy. It was really easy. And it cost me, I think, 30 euros
That's interesting.
to get into the city.
30 euros. Okay.
So that's what you can expect. But it's everything is clearly marked. It's easy. It's easy to get there.
Okay, cool. Thank you for your...
Anytime.
Yes.
Then once you're in Barcelona, I used the metro the whole time. I didn't use a taxi ever again. And the metro is really, really good. And so if you're in New York, maybe you're in DC, you're used to having a lot of delays and a lot of problems with the metro. It's not like that.
How often can you, for example, if you lose the subway...
You miss the train.
Yeah, you miss the train, how often it comes another one?
Well, the weekends it's not as fast, but during the week, probably 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it's really fast and
Yes.
it's good. and it's easy to understand the map.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I had a little bit of a problem with was when I was buying the ticket initially. I didn't.
Because of a credit card or something?
Yeah, for some reason my credit card doesn't work in those. I'm not
Okay.
sure why. But that's one thing. But I didn't think of putting the directions in English or Spanish. I didn't see the little thing. There's a little thing on the bottom where you can change the language, and I didn't notice. And so I was trying to figure out how to do the tickets in Catalan, and I had a hard time. But so that's one thing I'd recommend.
You choose.
Choose your language.
Okay. And you choose. You make a mistake and you choose Catalan instead of Spanish.
No,
or
well,
English?
that's the default.
Okay.
It's always in Catalan. You
Okay.
you have to change it to something else, and so make sure you notice that there is the option, because the first time I didn't, and I was frustrated. I had to start over again, and
Okay, good advice.
thank you.
Where did you stay in Barcelona?
I stayed at an Airbnb, which I would really recommend doing that. Actually,
It's better than a hotel.
well, I actually stayed in a hotel the first couple days I was in Barcelona because I had some points on my credit card. But then I moved to the Airbnb and I liked it a lot better because I stayed somewhere that was close to the metro, and that's probably something you'll want to do, is find a place that's close to the metro.
And you could choose. Well, yes. In the downtown of the city, you were.
I was a little
well
bit
located?
away. It was well located, but it wasn't in the downtown.
Okay.
But where I was maybe 2 minutes away from the metro. And so I was on the blue line, which goes to a lot of like La Sagrada Familia, important sites. And so I would get there in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But one thing I thought was a huge advantage was that I was staying in a neighborhood that wasn't touristic at all.
Your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The
It was ugly. It is ugly. Oh.
I didn't think it was ugly. I thought it was pretty.
But you cannot see anything there, right?
Well,
there
there's-
aren't tourists.
No, there's not tourist sites, but what I wanted to say was I thought it was pretty, but
Okay,
maybe
okay.
we have different tastes. I
Well,
don't know.
I don't know because I don't know the neighborhood anyway. But okay.
But it was interesting to me because I could go down into the downtown or the Gothic Quarter or whatever and see a lot of tourists. You don't see that many people from Spain in those neighborhoods, and so I think you don't quite get a great opportunity to see how people really live. And so that's the thing I liked about the Airbnb, because I got off the metro and everybody was Spanish. I didn't see a bunch of Americans. I didn't see people from other countries, and so
People thought that you were Russian.
people do always think that I'm Russian. That is true.
Well,
So I don't know if it's worse to be with Trump or Putin. So I have to think about it.
they're friends.
I know. So I would recommend staying in a neighborhood that's a little bit on the periphery because
It's cheaper.
it's cheaper. I was only paying $30 a night, which is pretty cheap.
And how was the house?
It was good.
Okay.
It was really good. They had a terrace that looked out into the
You
into
had a
the
terrace?
city. Hmm.
Wow.
It was nice.
I like it.
It was beautiful. So I would recommend that because I could go into the grocery store and just see how things were. I had an emergency and I had to go to the hardware store, and I got to see how that was, and that kind of stuff is kind of interesting to me.
Okay. So, I have one more question for you.
What is that?
What was your first impression of Barcelona?
I was really impressed by how pretty it is. I think it's a really, really beautiful city.
Everybody say that.
Well, maybe I'm not an original person.
Well, maybe it's true.
But sometimes everybody says that because it's true. So it's very pretty. It's fun just to walk around the neighborhood and just look at the buildings, especially if you're not from Europe. Everything is older, everything is more classical, and it's really neat to look at. There's a lot of interesting architecture in Barcelona, so I just like to walk around and look.
And there's a lot of people also walking in Barcelona.
Yes, you are correct.
Well, the final question, I'm going to ask you something useful because this is a Spanish channel to learn Spanish.
Yes.
I would like that you share some interesting word that you learned here.
While I was in Spain,
Yes.
well, my friend Reyes taught me this word patear, which means walk around. And if you're in Spain, you have to walk around a lot.
So, patear, es la palabra que ha aprendido Jill, quiere decir caminar. Si vas a Barcelona, tienes que patear mucho, porque es una ciudad muy grande y hay muchas cosas que ver. Entonces, the word is patear, that means in English?
To walk.
To walk.
To walk
right?
around.
It's a colloquial way to say walk in Spanish. Well, that's it. We finished. I really appreciate your effort being here with me
Thank you, my pleasure.
and sharing your knowledge about everything. And this couldn't be the last video. We're going to do more. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.